All right, so today this is Introduction to Adobe Express, and we're going to focus at the end on community building and how you can use that in your classroom. So my email address is here, seano@edtechteacher.org. If you have questions, because I know you guys have an awesome lineup today, but I know you're kind of, going from one professional development series to the next. I want you to feel free. I know Kathleen said, be careful what I ask for, but you can feel free to email me. That is totally fine. I want to also point your attention towards a participant guide, which might actually help you a little bit. I put some notes over here so you can scan the QR code, but since you're probably on a device, you are going to click the link here. What you're looking for is Intro to Adobe Express. So I'm just going to click on it just to show you where it is. If you scroll down, and I apologize for the scroll, if you scroll down toward the bottom, it's this PDF right here. And you don't necessarily have to use that today, but it is something in case you just kind of want to take a deeper dive, or if you want to, since it is a Google Doc, if you want to take a look at that and save it for later, you can do that. All right, so let me get back to our agenda, and then I have a slide kind of very quickly introducing myself. So this, as I said, is a very quick training. This is a 50-minute training. It's probably going to be more like 45, so I can save about 5 minutes at the end if you have questions. We're going to do an introduction. I have a lot of hands-on things for you to practice, which is why I've been dropping the agenda in the link in the chat for you. And I know Kathleen said she would keep adding it. So that is a live Google Slides with all live links in there. One of the things you should know about me, and we're going to get to that right in my next slide, but I was a classroom teacher for 24 years. So I've been on your side of the professional development more times than I could count. And what always helped me was actually being able to get into the platform and do what I was being taught to do. So I have built in a lot of practice for you today. So we have some slides that we're going to go through. We have a community building activity on Adobe Express called All About Me that I'm going to have you practice today, but it's also something that you're going to be able to use with your students to help build community. There is a very quick section at the end, and you can do this together if we have time today, or you can do it later, where you can remix. That just means you're editing a template. That's Adobe Talk for editing a template. And you can get a badge, so a certificate for what you've done today. And then I have included some extra slides as well if you want to take your learning a little bit further. Setting our intentions for today's workshop using existing templates in Adobe Express. If you have never logged on to Adobe Express before, I'm not going to lie. At first, it could look a little overwhelming because there are so many amazing things you can do. But just like any site that we're given as teachers, take some time to play around with it. There are lots of fun things you can do, not only for your classroom, but also for yourself as well. I have been known to make holiday signs for my home using Adobe Express. So what we're going to do is we are going to log in to Adobe Express if you have not already. And you have the link to this slideshow. So on this slide, what I would like you to do is I would like you to click on this link and spend maybe, it says no more than 5 minutes. I'm going to give you 2 to 3 just because we have a lot to get through, and fill in your goals for today's workshop. I'm going to show you what happens when you're logged in and you click the link. All right, so here we go. So one of the most, and you're going to hear me say that a lot, but one of the most wonderful things about Adobe Express is you never have to start from scratch if you don't want to. Everything they have in the site is 100% customizable. So you can edit anything and everything. So for instance, if you follow that link, hopefully you're in your account right now and you have this right here, this template in front of you. And this is just goals for today's class. As you're filling this out, and I'm going to show you how to fill it out, I want you to see that everything I'm clicking on is highlighted. So I can literally change everything about this template. Now, if I want to put text in here, I'm going to go over here to my left-hand dashboard, and I'm going to click the word text. Now, if there's a certain text I like, I can always put it in here, but I'm just going to click on add text. And you can see that my text box pops up here. Now, I am just going to add my text. So my goal for today is to get you comfortable using Adobe Express. Now that's too big because I want this to fit in here. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make that a lot smaller. And then I'm just going to move it down here. There we go. I know I did that fast. It's because I've used it before. It just takes some playing. Anytime you want to add text, you're going to hit the text button. You're going to type your text in, and then you can highlight it just like you would with Google, and you can drag it around. But one of the other cool things is you can look over here and it shows you different fonts that you could change it to. So if I click on there, you can see it changed here. Here's another one. Here's another one, right? And so you can actually get a look at what different texts look like to find one that you really like. And again, if I want to add text, I'm going to click the text. I'm going to click add text. Way too big, but you know, I'm at a certain age where I need my reader. So this is actually a good size for me right now. All right, I'm going to make it the size I want to. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go over here and drop the text size. And then this little arrow, I'm going to put it where I want it. And I can make this bigger if I want. I can space it. And again, keep in mind, there's all of these different fonts that I also have. Now, as far as text goes, when you add the text, whoops, I'm going to get rid of this guy. Again, to get rid of something, you can click on it. And one of my favorite features, everyone, it's also one of my favorite features in Google, is the back arrow right up here. So if you make a mistake, do not panic. You're just going to hit that back arrow right there. All right. So would you do me a favor? I know Kathleen is monitoring the chat, but would you do me a favor? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you were able to start remixing this template. The other thing, oh, perfect. I was going to say, give me a thumbs up, or you can even put the number 1 if you don't have a thumb icon. Anything that works, good, good for you. All right, perfect. I'm going to drop that link in there one more time. I saw someone ask for the agenda, so there you go. And again, everyone, I apologize if I'm going fast. I know that we have limited time, and I just want to show you as much as I can in the limited amount of time that we have. All right, we're going to go back to the slides for a minute, but while we're here, I do want to point out to you this left-hand dashboard. Okay, just so you're familiar with it, so you can go in and play on your own. If I click on that A, it's going to bring me to my home page. And again, trust me, I know it can look a little bit overwhelming. Okay, over here are some of the things that I can create. Over here are some of the things I can create. And if you scroll, it's also going to show you some of the things you can create. Things that I've created on Adobe Express for my classroom are things like worksheets, flyers, posters, travel brochures, things like that. When I tell you that you do not need to buy anything on Teachers Pay Teachers to decorate your classroom again, I mean it. And when I tell you you never have to buy a worksheet again, you can create it, or you can create what you want for your students, you can do it, and your students can do it as well. Your students, when they use this, are going to be able to show you what they know in the most creative and wonderful ways. If you've never used Adobe Express before, everything is saved to the cloud, so you never have to worry about saving it. And everything you make is going to be saved right here on the left-hand side under your stuff. So you can see already this is what we worked on today. You can see I have lots of things in here, lots of different things that I've done with different school systems, things that I've practiced. So everything you save is going to be saved there. Templates, there is a template for everything. Let's say you were doing a study on ancient Egypt. If you put Egypt in there, I'm just picking Egypt. I don't even know why that came to my head, but look at all of these things. You could put in Egypt travel. Let's say you wanted to do, look at this Egyptian timeline. Now remember, every single template you can customize. So you just click on it and you can zoom in and make it bigger. But every single thing in here, every font, every graphic, everything you can customize. All right. So there is so much you can do. So if you ever want me back for another Adobe Express training, I'm happy to do it. But in the meantime, we're going to move on to some of the other things in our slide deck. So I am so happy that you were able to remix that template, and we're going to keep going. So why tell visual stories with Express? Visual stories are incredibly powerful. We know that as adults, we can rapidly process visual information, right? And we are such creatures of that now with social media, and we look at our phones and we can take in things like diagrams and charts and images, and we can usually take those in a lot better than we could take in a whole page of text, right? And the same is true for our students. Our well-designed visual can be a much more powerful and memorable way to engage our students as well. The other thing I love about giving our students a chance to use Adobe Express is they can show what they know in a variety of ways, right? So in my day, and I won't tell you how long ago that was, but I can remember struggling over that giant poster board, and I had to write big letters, and I had to photocopy pictures from an encyclopedia and paste them on. Well, those days are gone, right? Your students can create an amazing visual just using the tools on Adobe Express. So we are going to continue creating together, and I want to show you some of the other templates that we can take a few minutes and remix. So I want you to stop and think for a second. My science peeps out there, you're going to know what this is. It's a cross section of a leaf. And I want you to take just a minute and I want you to read the text right here. For some of us, reading that text is a snap, right? And we can process that information. But for a lot of us, and I'll be honest, myself included, that would have taken me quite a while to process because there's a lot of information in there, and my brain is more a visual learner, right? So how could you, as a science instructor, or any instructor really, but we're going to use photosynthesis for an example in this case, how could you communicate this information visually to your students? Or how could your students communicate this information visually back to you to show what they know, right? So one way that we can do this, and one way to make any information, regardless of the content, more engaging is to have it represented in a visual, right? So I have another remixable template right here that I'm going to ask you to click into. I'm going to do it here. And this is one that can be adapted to create your own infographic for photosynthesis. Now, we don't have time for that unless that's something that you want to do later on. Please feel free. But if you click on this, this is just one that was chosen. And look at this. I'm going to zoom in on it. You can probably see it on your own screen if you have multiple windows open, but look at this. This is an infographic, and I'm sure you're familiar with infographics, but there are thousands of them on Adobe Express for every subject that you can use and remix, or your students can use and remix. But take a look at it. So now you've represented that same paragraph that I've just showed you, but you have it in a visual representation, right? Or if you were asking your students to regurgitate the information to you, your students could create this in a visual representation. And research has shown us that that is the best way to make learning memorable and engaging, right? And again, with every single one of our templates, everything here is fully customizable, everything, all right? If you are ever looking for any kind of picture, whether it be clip art or a real picture, you're going to click on media. So I talked to you about your stuff and search. Search is just search. But if you go into media, you're going to get this right here. And there is so much media that you can click into. There is audio, there is video, there are photos, and you can see it up here as well. Or you could upload something from your own device, right? So it doesn't just have to be things that are on Adobe Express. It could be things you have in your own computer. But let's say I wanted to put in photosynthesis. Now look, I could have any of these pictures. Adobe owns all of these, so you don't have to worry about copyright. You can use anything in Adobe. It is all for you to use, right? Just by saying photosynthesis. One of the cool things I want to show you, I'm not sure if this is the one that I could do it on, but I'm going to pull that picture over here for a minute. So it's just drag and drop. But one of the things we also have is you can remove the background. So I clicked on the picture, and when I clicked on the picture, all of a sudden, these things came up. This is a whole other Adobe Express class, but it's kind of cool. So I want to show you in case you want to play around with it later. I could click remove background and watch what happens to the picture, right? It removed everything except for the actual leaf. And so now, I can move this around. I can put it wherever I want. If you have a big picture, you could erase things. We also have this word, I don't know why it's a tongue twister for me, but the generative fill, right? You can play along with as well. And that is all in AI, and it is super fun to play around with. But any kind of picture, video, or audio that you are looking for can always be found right here in media. All right, so I just wanted to show you that remove background because that's a really, really cool thing. While we're in this page, the other thing that I would like to show you quickly, and then we're going to go back to our slideshow, is I'd like to show you how you can share this, right? Because it's great if we're creating something, but we have to be able to get it off of Adobe Express. So you're going to click, well, first of all, you can download it, right? You can always download it to your own device. If you want to share it, you're going to click the share button, and you're going to see that there are lots of different options for you to share. So you can put in people or groups up here. You can switch it to like a privacy setting, again, much like Google, right? So anyone with the link or only invited people, you can copy the link and copy it and paste it somewhere else. You can also publish this, you can post this, but if your school does a lot with social media, it can also be sent through social media as well. So you can share things in a variety of ways, whatever works best for you. But it's really wonderful to have students use this and then share their links with the teacher, or you could start a running Google Doc that was open to everyone, and students could actually share what they've created online and then talk from it. All right. So I just want you to keep in mind all of the amazing things that you can do as an educator, but also the things that your students can use this for so that they can also show what they know. All right, we're going to jump back into the slideshow. Thanks for hanging in there with me, everybody. All right, so just going to let some more people in the waiting room. So that is all about representing information visually, right? And the importance of doing that. And I just think that it's amazing that now, instead of tracing those block letters and making that big poster board, students are able to show what they know in a different way. All right. So I'm going to give you a few minutes in just a minute after I go through this slide to take a look at some of the different things on this page. But I want you to think about representing learning in a portfolio. So we all know as teachers, we all know portfolios. I have had portfolios for years and years. Most of the time they were folders in a milk crate, right? I had those folders vertical in a milk crate and I would stick worksheets in there or work samples, writing samples, But thinking about a digital portfolio, and some of you might also already, use digital portfolios. A digital portfolio can take on a different form. So you could have a showcase digital portfolio, and that's like the best and the final. So the final writing product or the final art product, if you're in the art department, the final and the best. You could have a process portfolio, which are all of the different steps students took during the learning experience. I love the process portfolio, and I think students do too, because I think they love seeing how far they've come. And I think they love seeing how they started. And sometimes it's a little cringy for them, but as the teacher, it's an amazing opportunity to see the growth. But then you have what's probably the best of both worlds, and that is the hybrid portfolio. The hybrid portfolio is just a combination of the showcase and the process. It shows all of the steps, and then it reflects on the final outcome. These are all live links. And if you click on this, it's going to give you all, okay, well, that one was working earlier. So you can remix this template right here, and I'll fix that other one for you. But these are all templates to get you seeing, and you're going to scroll, this is a scroll, to get you seeing what digital portfolios could look like. And they're really, really fun, and they're really easy to create. But there's a bunch of them right here. On the next page, there's more. So I'm going to go through what's on this page, and then I'm going to give you a few minutes to click through some of the things that are on this slide and the previous slide, just to give you a little sample of some of the things that you can use Adobe Express for. So this slide is all about presenting learning through video storytelling. And I loved using this in my classroom because I felt like this was such a wonderful way to engage all of my learners, right? So that universal design for learning, where we're really putting out these different accommodations and letting any student who might need them take advantage of them. So video storytelling makes learning really immersive and compelling through using the media. So it allows students to narrate, right? So if writing is tough for our students, if we have multilingual learners, they can narrate the learning and upload pictures and graphs and anything they want. It helps students solve real-world problems through project-based learning, right? They can use this for project-based learning. And it really increases student engagement because it allows students to create, right? They're not just consuming the media, they're creating it, right? So again, we have these different examples here, which you can take a look at. I'll give you a few minutes. And these are like videos. And when you play these videos, I'm just going to play it quickly.
I am from by Ophelia. I am from Roy Nelson, the stuffed sheep toy.
Okay. So you can probably hear, hopefully you can all hear the video, but I am from, right? Giving students, and this is going to lead nicely into our community building, but giving students an opportunity to teach about themselves. Who are you? What things are important to you? Tell us about your culture. Tell us about your history, right? But doing it through a video. So even our youngest learners, right? Or like I said, struggling learners, multilingual learners can all still access this, right? So it really is a wonderful way for students to engage and to show what they know. So I'm going to set my timer for about 5 minutes. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and I'll go through the chat and see if there's any questions. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I invite you to take a look at this previous slide, taking a look at the portfolios, and this slide, the different video storytelling as well. And if it's something that you're interested in looking at and starting to build, when you jump into Adobe Express, you can see it right here, right? If you click on video, you can see how you can start to create a video, right? You can use a template, lots of different ways to do it. So I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes and let you explore. I've seen this come up in the chat a lot, so I just wanted to address it. Adobe Express and Canva are very, very similar. I tend, oh, Juliet, I love that comment. I just found this. So I'm going to, I stopped sharing my screen, which you might have noticed, because I wanted to get a concise answer of why you might prefer Adobe Express over Canva. So I just dropped that in the chat. But April, I see your question. Can multiple students work on a project at the same time? Absolutely, they can. Yeah, you would share the project that way and they can work on it at the same time. And you'll see like the little icon up in the corner, just like in a Google Doc. So it's really, really cool. The other thing you should definitely check out if you're on the platform is if you are searching for any kind of worksheet, right? Say you wanted, quadrilateral equation worksheet, put that in, and odds are good you are going to have pre-made worksheets come up for you. And the nice thing, like I've said about a zillion times already, is that even if it's not the exact worksheet you want, everything is editable. So you can go in and change anything you want. So it really is a time saver because so many things have already been created for you. April, I agree with you. I like it better than Canva too. It could just be because I've been trained by Adobe, but I really do love this platform. And as an aside, my daughter decorated her entire college dorm room with pictures that she made of Taylor Swift quotes in my Adobe Express account. So you really can decorate your classroom or your home using this. And it's, it's just amazing. It really, really is. And it's fun. It's fun. So, all right. Well, we have about 17 minutes left. Again, I am sorry I'm going quickly through this. I just want to make sure I hit on all the good stuff before you move on. Amanda just asked a good question. She asked if you have full access. I think that's a Kathleen question. I don't know that on my end. Um, so I'll probably leave that to someone.
Yes,
Oh, okay, good.
yes,
Thank you.
yes, you
Okay,
should, and if for some reason you don't, you can submit a IT ticket, but yes, you should.
beautiful. All right. And that's
As
the
long as you're signed in JCPS, let me say that. Make sure you're signed in to Chrome with your JCPS email and password, your credentials, so.
Yeah, excellent. And so anything you see on the Adobe Express platform that has like that little crown, that's like the I don't, I'm losing the word right now, but like the advanced account, but it sounds like you have that. So you have everything you need. And it sounds like your students will too, which is amazing. All right. So I'm going to keep going. Here we go. Okay. So let's talk about community building, because I know that that was the title of our professional development today. But because you are new users with Adobe Express, I really wanted to make sure that I at least gave you the quick overview of the basics. So I'm going to play this little video for you. It's only 2 minutes. I'm really hoping you can hear it. If not, this is the live link right here. Would you just do me a favor? And if you cannot hear it, you can just stick like a no in the chat, and then I'll just let you watch it on your own device. But we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll start the video right now.
Whether you're getting ready for back to school or needing to bond in the middle of the school year, community building in any classroom is the key to student success. We know that all students flourish when they feel valued, heard, and understood. Hi, everyone. I'm Matisse Cisneros, an educator, creative, speaker, storyteller, modern learning advisor, and education evangelist here at Adobe. I've created and presented hundreds of tech-infused lessons, projects, and presentations for teachers across the globe. In the next 30 minutes, I'll show you how to create effective and quick community building activities in Adobe Express that you can use and reuse throughout the year. Students spend most of their childhood and young adult lives in schools and classrooms. You, as an educator, have that opportunity to help your students feel valued and safe by building a warm and empowering community in your class each and every day. Research shows that when an educator creates a classroom community activities, students benefit in myriad of ways. In fact, in a classroom where students feel valued and heard, students tend to take more academic risks. Those who feel welcome reach outside of their comfort zones to learn new things. Students become more collaborative and will foster positive relationships with their peers. Students who feel welcome will take an ownership of their school environment and their learning. Fostering a sense of community in the classroom can be challenging. The good news is, today, I will show you many activities that will help you kickstart a positive community culture among your students, no matter what you teach. Remember, every interaction you have with your students is an opportunity to continue to grow their sense of trust and belonging. When you finish this course, you can access pre-made templates, lessons, projects, and assets to use in your classroom to build community right away. Oh, and don't forget to log into your Adobe Express account so you can create along with me. You ready? Let's get creating.
Okay, so we are going to get creating. And I have to tell you, YouTube is a phenomenal place to find Adobe Express resources if you're wondering how to do something and you can't seem to find it. I'm going to show you the Help Center, because that, again, is an amazing resource. But honestly, even as someone who's a trainer and has used it for years, sometimes I'm still like, oh, I wonder how I do this. There is a video, and it's always a short, really easy to understand video. Okay, so now this is the community building activity that I wanted to show you today. and that I wanted to show you that you could do with your students, right? A wonderful way to build classroom community for you to learn more about your students, a great way for your students to be able to teach you about what's important to them without speaking up, right? Because we know that's not always comfortable for students. So this is a live link right here. And if you click on that, that is going to bring you to the All About Me template. Now, I'm going to tell you that there are a trillion All About Me templates on Adobe Express. So if you don't like this one, you could just put in the search All About Me and look at all of these different templates that come up, right? So you really can customize this to whatever you want. So I'm going to ask you, take a couple minutes, play around with the template because I want you to get comfortable maneuvering the site, right? So once you have a template you want to use, you know, because I've already told you, you can change anything on here. So let's say, like, maybe you didn't want to do favorite book. You could completely delete this and you could add in something else. Maybe you want to say, do you have any pets? Or, you know, you can customize it however you want. But take a minute, play around with it, and get comfortable and play around with these buttons, right? You can change the color theme. That's what theme does, right? Watch this. If I click on here, it's going to change it to this theme, this theme, this theme. And don't forget, if you hate it, the trusty back arrow will always bring you back. I saw someone in the chat. There were so many wonderful questions, but I saw someone in the chat mention, can you use it for posters? Absolutely, you can. You would just hit resize. Okay. And you can either click something down here or you can customize it. And then what you would do is you would download it or share it. And then you would obviously like send it to a printer that could print out something that size. So yes, you can absolutely use it for posters and anything that you want. The other thing, I'm sorry, I keep saying that to all of you, but there's so many great things. I want you to look at Translate. Anything on here that you create, you can translate into any language. And that, as someone who has been an educator, as someone who loved her multilingual students so much, that could bring me to tears, happy tears, because I always felt when I created something, whether it was something that I was sending home or whether it was something that I was hanging up, it was always very hard for me to know that the families of my students a lot of times couldn't access it because they didn't speak the language and they were not learning it along with their children. So also know that everything that you create, whether it's to stay in school or to go home to try to involve parents and families, can be translated. So I love that as well. Background color you can change. I'm going to be quiet now. You play for a minute or two. All right. So you can see I was just kind of playing around with it, changing different things. Again, like any program, if you guys are anything like I was as a classroom teacher, for me to get really comfortable with something, I need to play with it a little bit. But hopefully now you have at least some of, the basic tools to get in there and start creating and start playing. I'm going to head back to the slideshow. And what I'd like to do is, because we only have 6 minutes total, and I do want to leave a few minutes for questions. I'm going to leave you to do this independently later if you'd like to. This is going to ask you to just remix a template, which you've already been doing, and you'll get a badge. So you'll get credit for doing this through Adobe. So I'm just going to show you the slides. It talks you through it. And then it talks you through the steps to go in and get a certificate for today's workshop with me. And it has the link right here. You'll log in. It's very easy. It has all of the directions right here. So you can totally do this, independently. It probably will take you 5 minutes, but it is really nice to be able to get the accolades for something that you worked for. So you will be able to get a certificate for creating a graphic with Adobe Express. So all of these steps will take you through that. But I want to quickly show you what else I've put in here for you to explore. I'm going to say in your free time. I know you're teachers and you don't have free time, but I want to just show you the extra content that I put in here for you. So there are an incredible amount of self-paced courses, and they're really quick, but I've linked here all of the different courses in Adobe Express. So if you want to learn more about digital portfolios, or you want to learn more about web pages or videos or anything, you can take these really quick self-paced courses. And what they do is there's a video, and then there's a template you go in and create, and then there's a video. So they really, really talk you through it. And there are also what we call lightning learning courses, which are even quicker, right? So here are the links. Here is the link to the Education Express. This is amazing. This is completely free. These are all resources. You can click through it on your own, but this one is really fun, everybody. It's about using the generative AI. The AI in Adobe Express is really, really fun. It's all picture generated. It's really cool. So check that out. Whoops, excuse me. Again, all of these are live links. So again, getting started, if you're running across any challenges, community, and then integrations with Adobe Express and AI. I've included some of those slides in here as well, in case, you guys are doing a lot today. So, when we leave this session at the end of the day, if you're like, oh my goodness, I totally forgot, here is about signing on with Clever. And the next slide is about Google Classroom and how you can use this through Google and Google Classroom as well. And then what I did was I included some slides about AI and how the AI with Adobe Express is different because this is not generating the text. All right, so this is not like ChatGPT where it's generating all these text answers. This is more visual, which is awesome. And it really, really is a lot of fun. So there, again, I've included some remixable templates so you can go right in and start playing if you want. Oops, let me go back. I apologize. Anytime I've included like a list of things where you might use AI and Adobe Express, what to know for teachers. So I love this explore with guardrails, right? I love how I just like the wording of that. AI for administration, and AI for parents, right? And then there's the PDF version there. So that is what, and that is the last slide. So that is what was shared in the slide deck. Just lots of things to go over, practice today. And if you want to keep learning, it's there as well.